Good afternoon, everyone. Tony Saraceno, and this is the Tony Saraceno Baseball Program. We call it a program, although it usually only lasts about 10 or 15 minutes, and we don't have any guests on or anything like that. We can call it a show, but it's a show of one. I'm on the road traveling, and I did not get to see the Met games. I want to be honest. I'm not going to lie to you guys out there. I'll be very straight with you. I just went through the box scores. I can't get the games here. I should be able to get them on my phone, but I've been out the last two nights, and even though they're on the West Coast, I'm not being able to see the games. Now, I had said that Tuesday night would be a tough game, and when I'm right, I like to admit it. I thought that they would struggle. They got two hits, okay? Not a surprise. The offense was incredibly lethargic. Hell, when they sleep well, the offense struggles. I can't imagine when they don't get any sleep how well the offense is going to do. They're not going to score runs. Manaea pitched well in that game from what I looked at. Again, but only two hits. It was a tight game, but they lost. And I wasn't surprised. Seattle can pitch. This is not Detroit walking wounded. This is not Miami, who is a bad team. This is a team that made a playoff run last year, made the playoffs. And this is a team this year that is, they got over 500, but they can pitch, and they got some boppers that started off a little slow. Raleigh started off slow, but he should. It's hard to say year to year with a catcher, but come on, he should bat 230 and hit 35 homers this year, okay? And that's got one guy on the team going to hit 35 homers, okay? So right there, and they're doing it from a spot that's not an offensive position. So they should be pretty good offensively when you break it all down. Last night's game, all right, 5 hits. Carson Bench had the only game, hit a home run, put the Mets on the board. No one else hit. Soto got a hit. Okay, a couple of errors. Vientos cost them. Okay. Marcus Seaman made an error. That's only his second, so it cut him a little slack on that. Vientos he's made some nice plays at first base. He's not a first baseman. He's learning on the job. So again, when I look at Stearns and he talks about this fielding, run prevention, I don't buy it. He was going to put Bichette at third base. I don't find Bichette to be a good fielder at all. All right, were you better at second base? Yeah, with Simeon there, you're back at you're better at second. You're not better at first, not with Polanco and not with Vientos. And you're not really better in the outfield. I know they didn't like Nimmo in the outfield, and some of the metrics says he wasn't a good outfielder, but he wasn't a bad outfielder. Okay, certainly not enough to struggle. Not enough to kick him off the team because of his fielding. Come on. So anyway, they didn't hit again. And what's really scary is they go with an opener. Brazoban got nicked up, and I'm telling you, we're in June. Come July, you're going to see more of this. He's going to get hit. Tong, although he struck out 4 guys, but he walked 2 more in 3 innings, and he gave up 5 hits. He got smacked around, and he took the loss. And this is going to happen. And again, I hate to go back to John Smoltz, but I'm an old school guy. When you got a pitcher, and it's amazing to me that they don't develop a Madison Bumgarner anymore, who single-handedly won the 2014 World Series. When you've got a hot pitcher, remember that a hot goalie in hockey? You carry your team. Sandy Koufax won 3 games. In the 1965 World Series. Bob Gibson won 3 games in the 67 World Series. Okay? And he won the first 2 in 68 and almost took it home again. Curt Flood misjudged the ball out there, and the Cardinals should have won that series much sooner than that anyway. They kicked themselves for losing that series. But, pitching performances, I'm sorry. Jack Morris with the Twins, 1-0. Great World Series game. I don't understand this. Don't go through the lineup the third time. That's the Dodgers. When you have bad pitching, maybe you don't want to go through the lineup 3 times. I don't know why you don't develop some of these guys to go through the lineup 3 times. I can't figure it out. But instead, you want to go with a circus of 5 guys every game and 6 guys every game. And if one guy doesn't pull his weight, everybody else has to pull more. So not only is the guy who doesn't pull his weight get hammered, but everybody else has got to pitch more because he's going to get knocked out of the game sooner. They hung on with Tong and let him go 3 innings because they had to. They had to. They didn't have a starter that can walk out and throw 6 2/3 and then come out with 2 guys out of the bullpen, have a setup guy and go to a closer. They don't have that. They got guys who pitch 4 innings, 5 innings at best, and then it's an inning, an inning, an inning, an inning, and an inning. And that's how they do it. And you're going to, listen, you play with fire when you do that. It doesn't work for long term. Okay, it's even limited in the short term. It is. You get these guys in these playoff series, and they see the reliever for the 3rd time, and all of a sudden that reliever's not dominating. So, I quite honestly, I don't understand. I'll give you a story. Mariano Rivera pitched 14, 15 seasons. He had 1 pitch. He had 1 pitch. And there were times he pitched 3 innings. He had 1 pitch. He could throw 2 innings as a reliever. It wasn't uncommon. He had 1 pitch for 15 years. He had a fastball too, but he had the cutter. And everybody knew he was throwing a cutter. And he still got it. I mean, if you've got a good pitch, you can throw it. All right? These hitters are not that great. I'm looking at the batting averages on these guys, and they're horrendous. And they can't play small ball. So if you keep the ball in the ballpark, you're going to be pretty successful and you can throw your pitches for strikes. These guys are just not trained to pitch this way, and the Mets are buying into this. I got news for everybody out there. The Mets are buying into this 1 inning opener, 4 innings, the next guy, which could be Manaea, which worked, but then it's Tong, which doesn't work. And, you can wait for McLean and Peralta to come around every time, okay? And great. McLean, you're gonna overuse and help and get him to 7 innings. So when he throws 110 pitches, he's not built to do it, but you got to build him to do it. The reason why I say McLean's not built to do it is go look at his numbers in the minor leagues. This guy, I understand why you can only go 4 or 5 innings. McLean has never thrown. If he's going to struggle now, just lay it out this way. I watched Matt Harvey. Matt Harvey had not thrown big innings in the minors. Okay, we're talking like 100, 120, 130. Comes up with the Mets, has 2 seasons, gets hurt, misses a season. Comes back, pitched 188 innings, and then into the playoffs. And that was more than what they wanted to. It was never the same. And it's not the injury that did him in. It was the lack of preparation to get him up to innings to throw. 7 innings. Throw 200 innings in a season. If you think McLean is going to be effective, they try to baby him, and you build him up in the minor leagues. Okay, let him learn to pitch in the minor leagues. Let him learn to throw 7 innings and throw 115 pitches in a game. It's not stopping guys from getting hurt. This babying, it's not working. So, someone once said to me, Seaver and Ferguson Jenkins and Carlton and Blyleven and Don Sutton and Jim Palmer and all these pitches that pitched throughout the set. Phil Niekro. Niekro's a knuckleballer, but we'll throw him in there too. All these guys who pitched through the 70s were survivors, they said. They were survivors. They could throw 290 because they made it through that era where they could get hurt, that period in their development. So they were survivors. Okay, what's wrong with having survivors? Because it doesn't work this way. I don't know why you can't go back and get a stud, which was probably the last stud. Verlander was a stud. Roy Halladay was a stud. Madison Bumgarner was a stud. Quote Bear Bryant, stud. He was a stud. Okay, these guys could carry you, especially in a short series. It didn't. Were the Royals dumb when they faced Bumgarner? He pitched a complete game and came back a day and a half later and threw 6 innings and gave up 1 run. It didn't seem to bother him. He had thrown basically a shutout in the first game of the series. So, I struggle with this philosophy continuously, and I sound like a broken record, but you're going to see this. This happens on every team. They're going to bring up, it's going to be musical chairs with the relievers. They're going to have, the piggyback I can almost deal with. Okay, 5 and a 4. At least you're not blowing out your relievers every day. And these guys are not built either. It's hilarious. Your starters are throwing 107 innings and getting hurt, and your relievers are going to throw 100 innings and they're going to get hurt because they're not built to do what they're doing, the way they're doing it. Okay? Very few pitchers come out and throw every day, especially with the stuff that they throw. And you saw it last night. This will not be the last time, I guarantee you. This will not be, we're getting, even when Seaver had a bad game, or Jerry Kuzman, or Matlack, those big pitchers when the Mets are, let's go even in the 80s with Gooden and Darling, who were throwing 230, 240 innings. Gooden threw 270. What? He has a bad game, it's 7 innings and 4 runs. What's the problem with that? The Mets are getting at 7 and 4 half the time anyway, and it takes them 4 pitches to do it, 3 pitches to do it, and you're just blowing these guys out. When you're, especially, this may be something else to understand, but and especially, you can almost get away with, this is going to sound weird, but when you're at home and you're in your own bed, and you're getting to the ballpark, and it's that same routine, it's a lot easier to adjust and adapt, okay? And you only need, and if you had a decent starting staff, that guys who can throw at least, can you get to the 7th inning at least? Everybody can ride off of that. But when you keep throwing guys out there, especially now you get on the road, now the whole team is tired. They're not sleeping in the same hotel. They got to get to the ballpark. They can't get there on their own pace. They got to get on the bus, okay? Then they got to get to a clubhouse they don't know, and they got to figure out that stuff. And I know they do this stuff all the time, but it's harder on the road. It's why teams in almost every sport usually don't win more games they win more games at home than they do on the road. There's a reason for that. It's not that there's a magic they like maybe a mound, or the net. It's all the, in basketball, hockey, the ice is the ice. It's the travel. Okay, it's sleeping in hotels and being a step slower. Now you're asking, when you pitch 6 guys in a game on the road, you're asking everybody. Now you're going to, 4 of those guys are going to be shot. How are they going to pitch well? And that's what you're going to see. And that's what's going to happen with the Mets. And it's going to it'll be an epidemic, and it's going to end up coming down at home that way as well. So we got another game today. I'm not going to be able to see it. And just so you guys know, I'm going to be leaving for Europe on Friday, and I'll be gone for 2 weeks. So for the 23 guys who look at my videos, and I apologize, I'll try to get some out. Watch for this, though. This is what I say to the Met fandom out there, and I've been saying this all along. 1, on the road, hitting will struggle. Keep an eye on that. Number 2, these starters don't start throwing into the 6th inning. It's going to be a repeat of last year. Okay, your bullpen's going to, and I've said this, but your bullpen's going to fall apart. Okay. 3, watch the fielding. The Mets are not saving runs. Okay. And you cannot count on Lindor to get back. I get, I don't know how much longer you're going to live with Bichette at shortstop, because he's a mess. But they're going to, he's there. And, maybe what are they going to go with, less hitting? And even though Bichette is a disaster at the plate, you're going to bring that other kid up, have him play shortstop, and move Bichette to third, and that kid can't hit? What's his name? Vajan? I can't remember. You know how bad I am with names, everyone. He looked like a decent fielder, but didn't look like he had a stick. So I struggle with that. So watch for these things, and then watch the Mets. Again, they can't steal base. When they do, their stolen base rate from last year, which was it was exemplary. It was amazing. They're down like 24% from last year stealing. That's extra outs right there. And when you struggle offensively, you can't afford to give away any outs. And they're giving away more on the bases. So it's like a perfect storm. They gave away a lot of power. Their average is down. They steal less bases. Add it all up, folks. Less runs. It doesn't take a genius. It doesn't take a mathematician. It doesn't take a Harvard graduate, okay? Who, again, I tease him because I don't know if he thinks he's smarter than everybody else. He looks smug, but again, it's not fair. But I'm going to pile on here because it's funny. Tell the Harvard graduate you do not need a calculator to figure out if you hit less home runs and have a lower batting average and steal less bases that you're going to score less runs. It's that simple, okay? It doesn't take, again, a mathematician to figure that out. And that's what the Mets are. But watch for those things that I pointed out to you. And I'm going to, maybe when I'm on vacation, if I have enough time, I'd love to go through the coaching. And I like to go through the individual coaches to show you what the front office picked. And if you get some time, and again, utilize Baseball Reference, go take a look at the experience. They got one coach who's got big league experience. One coach who's got real big league experience. They don't have another coach on this team who has any big league experience. And they have some that played independent ball. And that's like, I mean, if you're going to go there, why don't you just ask me to coach? I can go watch film with these guys. And I don't want to say, and so could you out there. You could go do this too. It's like the old line from George Costanza, I'd like to be, general manager of the Yankees. And he goes, basically, you got to be in baseball. No, you don't anymore. You don't have to be in baseball. Look at even the way, you don't, okay? You can watch it and be really smart and go up there and probably make decisions really not too far from the way these guys are making decisions at the very worst. So, all right. This is Tony Saraceno. This is the Tony Saraceno Baseball Show. If you like what I got to say, hit the subscribe button for me. We've got some subscribers. I'm getting, it's kind of excited. And they're not all friends. Like some of them I don't even know. Love to hear your comments, any trivia, anything else. Baseball's a game to be discussed. It's the best thing about baseball. So love to see your comments. Love to see if you reach out. Other than that, find a good place to watch ball game tonight. Relax. We're getting through the week. Tomorrow's going to be Thursday. That much closer. And enjoy. Take care out there.